Good morning, everybody. Welcome to a sunny Monday morning of Chem 1105 with your host, me, Dr. White. Hi. As you know, I graded test number 2, and I've also emailed each and every one of you an individual email with your points for each question or answer on test number 2. In a little while, I'm going to go through both versions of test number 2. Remember, if I make a mistake on grading, you should never, ever be penalized for a mistake I make. And therefore, if you do, send me an email and I'll check it. And if it's a mistake, I will correct it, because you shouldn't be penalized for any mistakes I make on grading. Now, important thing, the average on test number 2 for the whole class was 72, which in my book is not good. A number of you did good. I had a couple students who got above 100 or 100 and above, which means I didn't write an impossible test. If I did, nobody would ever score that high. I don't. And because of that, I sent out this morning the following. All right, thumbs up, people. You see Chem 1105, special thank you. All right, because a lot of you had trouble with the mole conversions, especially the last problem on test number 2 this Tuesday, tomorrow. Normally, I'll do some lecture or go through a problem set on a lab day, then I'll do the lab and I'll say goodbye. Tomorrow's lab, I'm going to do something different. I am going to start out with the lab introduction that we're going to do. By the way, it's a fun lab, really fun lab. Then afterward, I'm going to go through and reteach a lot of you who need it mole conversions, like on problem 18. You'll still get out the normal time that we would have if we had a regular Tuesday lecture lab. However, I think a lot of you could use the extra help, and therefore I highly urge all of you who didn't do good on test number 2 to stick around for that. Now, if you did real good on test number 2, you're more than welcome to stick around for the review and the practice I'm going to go through. But those of you who got, say, less than 72 or less on test number 2, I would highly urge you come tomorrow and I'll do that practice session after the lab. So please be on time tomorrow. All right, let's go through. Any questions?
I just have a question. So are you saying that you counted it correct if a person wrote 269 grams?
Yep.
Okay,
If I did,
thank you.
make sure you tell me. You can do either scientific or regular notation, decimal, I think it's called, or numeric, on small numbers. If you have something like 10 to the 23rd or 43rd, I don't want to be counting 30, 40 zeros after a number. Then you should use scientific notation. But if it's under 1,000, you can do either way. Even over a little, say even under 10,000. But you'll find it's easier scientific notation. All right.
Is there any chance you can go back to problem 10 again, please?
What?
Is there any chance you can go back to problem 10?
Yeah, no, and we've got some.
I'm having trouble with the background noise. Could you type it in chat? I apologize. Sergio, your question. And the answer is yes, I can. Which version? I'll do them both. All right. Nope, wrong version. Right version. All right, question 10 was circle all double and triple bonds in here. And I didn't put down water because it was the same as first. Here it is. This is the only thing you circle. If you circle other stuff too, guess what? I didn't give you the 1 point. And that's how you do it. Notice there's 1, 2, 3 pairs of electrons, and that's a triple bond. And there are no double bonds in any of these molecules, and that's how you do it. You're welcome. All right, one of the questions I would have if I were in your shoes, I don't think I'd fit, my feet are very wide, but if I were, is what grade am I getting in this class? Now, what I'm going to do is assume that you've handed in all the labs. If you haven't, all bets are off. By the way, don't forget, the lab that we did 2 weeks ago is due tomorrow, and I now will be following my syllabus. If you don't hand it in tomorrow by the end of the day, if you'll lose 2 points for being late. If it's more than 8 days late, you'll get 0 points. Please hand in your labs. Now, let's look at the following. Thumbs up, people. You see my whiteboard? Now, there are 2 methods to find out what your grade is. Method 1. Take test number 1 and test number 2 added together, divided by 2. And you'll get a number X. If X is 90 and above, you're getting an A, and this is in my syllabus. If it's 80 to 89, you're getting a B. If it's 70 to 79, C, 60 to 69, D, and less than 60, 59 or less, you're flunking. Hopefully none of you are, but again, this is assuming you've handed in all your labs. And there's another one. Since you can drop a lab, the lowest test is drop. And now if you just take and look at your 2 tests, and the higher the 2, if it's 90 and above, you're getting an A, assuming you've handed in all the labs. 80, 89 B, 70, 79 C. Again, this table, what I'm saying is in my syllabus for grade cutoffs. And 70, 79 C, 60, 69 D, 59 or less F. And that's how you do it. Now, for a lot of you, test number 2 is going to be the drop test. At least I hope it is, because that means you'll do better. Now, couple things. 1, tomorrow after lab, I will do a mole conversion help session. If you got less than 75 or whatever, be there. We'll do the lab first, as opposed to normally I do problems or lectures, then we do the lab. I'm going to switch that. And if you got more than that, higher score, you're more than welcome to stick around too. All right. The other thing, COD requires me and all faculty, not just me, to put in and submit midterm grades, which I'm not sure how I think you see them somewhere in Blackboard. Those are just the sum of your two tests and divide by 2. And if it's 890 and above, I put an A and so on. It's not your final grade, and it's no indication what you'll get. If you did bad on test 2, you still have ability to do very good in this class. 1, you got to hand in all your labs, and 2, you've got to do better on the rest of the test. I don't know if I mentioned this or not. First day of class, I'd say you learn a lot about me. It's time to learn something, which I might have mentioned, but I'll mention it now. I have yet to break a promise to myself. And I think nobody else either, but I know I've never made a promise to myself that I've broken. I've never broke a promise to myself. On the final exam, I will have a problem like number 18 of test 2. I'll say that again. I am now promising to myself that on the final exam, there will be a problem like number 18. So come tomorrow, I'll show you how to do that. And also, don't forget, you can look at the videos. Maybe by next Monday, if I have time, I'll post or send out a list of what videos you should look at for mole practice, because a lot of you need that. Any questions before I move on? All right, let me close some stuff. And remember, if I made a mistake grading on your test, send me an email and let me know. All right, we've gone through PV equal nRT problems. I did a couple of them, and not this Tuesday, but probably next Tuesday or maybe Friday. I'll have to see which. I'll let you know in advance. I'll go through the gases problem set. And remember, PV equal nRT teaches us in the winter when the temperature goes high, goes low, not high. Wow, well, global warming, well, I don't know yet, but temperature goes low, your pressure in your tires are going to go low. So it's a good idea to check your pressure of your tires when they get real cold outside. And in the summer, temperature goes real high, you should check your tires, because in the summer, if temperature goes high, the pressure will go high. And back about, I think it was 1995 when we had a monster heat wave around here. I hate to ask, how many of you weren't born back then? No, don't answer. But anyways, driving along the interstate and the toll roads, going to work where I worked up by Gurnee, Great America, there are a lot of trucks and cars pull over with blowouts, and you saw the rubber on the road too from their blown out tires, because the temperature went up, the pressure in their tires went up too high, and they blew up like a balloon when you blow it up too much. All right. Something else. When I was started in industry, I was lucky to have some great mentors. And one of them is the late Sid Shapiro, God rest his soul. And Sid was near the end of his career when I was just starting out, and he became my mentor. We actually carpooled for about over a year until he got transferred to the downtown Maine center of the company I was working for at their sales and marketing office. But anyways, one of the things Sid used to beat in my head always, and he used to call me Sonny, and I would say, "You're not my father." And he'd still say, "Well, I'll still call you Sonny," and we'd laugh. And I'd say, "You're not my father." But anyways, he used to always beat my head. Common sense is not common, and it's not. But here's something you should use common sense for. If I say learn this or important and put stars, which I did, guess what? It's going to be on the test. Common sense is not common, but it's time for you to use some in my class. All right, let's move on. We've done our ideal gas law. Let's talk about, and the switch is on. You should know this. Hint. This is called Dalton's law of partial pressures. Also, you should put on your common sense switch now. All right, what's Dalton's laws of partial pressure? Well, right now, the gas you're breathing, air, is a mixture mainly of oxygen, nitrogen. It's a mixture. And Dalton's law is the, and I'm never asked what it is in words, I will ask you to learn how to use it, is the total pressure exerted by a mixture, and it should be of gases, is the sum of the partial pressures of the individual gases. By the way, this caret, little semi-arrow going up, I forgot the name on a typewriter, what's that called, tilde or something like that. But anyways, that's an editor's way of saying it, and put that in there. So first of all, what's a partial pressure? That's the pressure that a gas in a mixture would exert if it were alone under the same conditions. So if I have nitrogen, oxygen, and I could measure each gas alone under the same conditions of a mixture, the pressure of each individual gas is called the partial pressure. And what Dalton's law of partial pressures are is the total pressure is the sum of the individual partial pressures added up, which we denote by P1, P2, and 3, and so on. But instead of numbers, you'll have chemical formulas. Oops, I forgot. No writing in this class, printing. By the way, here's another common sense thing. You see me put this there, you get the hint what I'm saying? Two days later, maybe 3 days later, I'll finish. All right, let me read it. If you have a mixture of nitrogen and argon gases with the nitrogen partial pressure of 451 torr, the argon partial pressure of 111 torr, then what is the total pressure of that mixture? Well, what are you trying to find? P total, the total pressure. What are you given? The partial pressure of nitrogen, which we write this way, is equal to 451 torr. The partial pressure of argon is equal to 111 torr. So what do you use? Use Dalton's law of partial pressure. The total pressure is the sum of the partial pressures. In this case, we have nitrogen gas partial pressure, argon partial pressure gas. And if I put the numbers in, if I add them up, and I'll do this in my head, so check me, make sure I'm doing it right. And that's the final answer. And that's how you use Dalton's law of partial pressures. And that's how you do it. Now, if I look at the time, I only got about 2 minutes left. So what I want to do is time to preach to the preach to you again. Remember, this is important. Tomorrow, we're going to do something a little different. We're going to do the lab first. And if you didn't do good on test 2, after the lab for about 45 minutes, I'm going to do some mold practice problems that will help you for, guess what? Test number 3 and also the final. Trying to think on test number 4, I don't think we do molds, but we do other math. Also, if you haven't mastered using your calculator with scientific notation, contact me. I'll help you either tomorrow after I finish my practice. I can do individual or group help, or come to my office hours. Remember, tonight from 5 to 6:15, I have my office hours, and also Wednesday. Now, I've mentioned it before, but if those aren't good times for you, let me know, and I can always move them, because you don't have to drive to class or to COD to see me. We can do it on Zoom. With that, I'm going to let you out a whole 30 seconds early. Shh, don't tell the dean I'm doing that. With that, don't forget the lab is due tomorrow. I'm enforcing my syllabus for lab grading, starting with tomorrow's lab. So hand it in on time. With that, gang gesund, be healthy. Goodbye.